Hello and welcome to Network Africa on Channels Television. Coming up on the program, a step in the right direction as the United Nations Security Council envoys touch down in Burundi in hopes of convincing President Nkurunziza to engage in dialogue. Then 1,500 troops are called back from Cote d'Ivoire, and this is indicative of the country's progress towards stability. Later on, a few days after the allegations of child labor leveled against 3 companies, Amnesty International joins us for an exclusive. Again, it's a pleasure to have you join us on Network Africa, live on Channels Television with me, Cynthia Are. Topping our news without surprise is what's happening in Burundi. As we speak, the UN Security Council ambassadors are in Burundi, and their aim is to push the government to open up serious talks with the opposition and agree to an African Union force that could prevent a slide to an all-out war. This is the second time in less than a year that the 15-member council has traveled to the East African country in the hope of evading even more ethnic killings and mass atrocities. Burundi descended into bloodshed in April of 2015 when President Pierre Nkurunziza announced his intention to run for a controversial third term, which he went on to win in July of that year. More than 400 people have died in the violence, and at least 230,000 have fled to neighboring countries. Now, here's more on that 2-day meeting which is taking place in Burundi. It's important to note that the meeting has been organized by the United States of America, France, and Angola. President Nkurunziza does not welcome this visit by the envoys. The envoys are trying to persuade the president to accept the 5,000-strong AU troops, but the president sees the peacekeeping troops as an invasion force. The AU proposal would provide for a phased deployment, including the border with Rwanda, and it deems the dialogue to be the only way out of this crisis. Now, as the United Nations Security Council seeks ways to make progress in Burundi, more progress has been recorded in Cote d'Ivoire. The United Nations has opted to cut a further 1,500 troops from the United Nations peacekeeping mission, which played a major role in halting violence in the country after disputed elections in 2010. In a unanimously adopted resolution, the 15-member body decreased the authorized ceiling of the United Nations operation in Cote d'Ivoire, also known as UNICE, from 5,437 to 4,000 military personnel by 31st of March. UNICE, which was set up in 2014 to facilitate implementation of a peace agreement after the West African country was torn apart by civil war, has helped restore legitimacy and stability in 2011. Along with French forces after the incumbent President Laurent Gbagbo's refusal to concede defeat in the 2010 elections to Alassane Ouattara. Now, it's unfortunate, but there's been a collapse in the power-sharing agreement signed last week, which was meant to be the culmination of peace accords to bring ethnic fighting to an end. Now, we want to take you right now to what's happening in the Central African Republic. The political and humanitarian crisis in the Central African Republic has led to a severe food insecurity there, with more than 600,000 people now internally displaced. All hands need to be on deck. That's what the World Food Programme is saying, and it's found that 2.5 million people could be facing hunger.
Conflict and insecurity has purged the Central African Republic to limited access to food. As emergency food security assessment by the United Nations World Food Programme partners revealed that nearly 2.5 million people face hunger. In order to tackle malnutrition, WFP is providing highly nutritious food to all children under 5. Pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers and severely food insecure households outside Bangui and in camps for displaced people.
WFP is extremely concerned about the food security situation that's worsening in Central African Republic. 1 out of 2 people in Central African Republic don't have enough food to eat and don't know where the next meal is coming from. The people most affected are the returnees and the hundreds and thousands of people that remain internally displaced inside Central African Republic. WFP is doing everything it can to respond to this alarming situation, but it needs support.
WFP provides food to over 3,000 displaced people in Sensevar camp. They receive cereals, pulses oil and highly nutritious food for children. According to the assessment, 1 in 6 women, men and children struggle with severe or extreme food insecurity, not knowing where their next meal is coming from, while more than 1 in 3 are moderately food insecure. About 2,000 displaced people receive food assistance from WFP at Castor Camp. The report recommends continued emergency food assistance to displaced families and returnees, food and technical assistance to farmers to recover, creating safety nets through programs such as the School Meals Program, and providing support to rehabilitate the infrastructure through Food for Assets activities.
Stay with us on Network Africa as there's more to come, including an exclusive from Amnesty International, a few days after the allegations of child labor leveled against 3 companies. Stay with us.